We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another G Kircho video. Today is a little bit of a different video. Today I am going to be ranking my all-time NBA GOATs. I've made a tier list and I'm going to be taking the top 10 players that I think have ever played in the NBA and rank them in this list and determine who my GOAT is. The way I did these rankings is I looked at basketball players and I said, well, who was most influential to the league? Who changed the league? Who shaped the league? There might be players that aren't in this list that were way more dominant than some of the players I chose, but every player that I chose to be in this list, I believe, changed the league in some way or aspect. So yeah, without further ado, let's just jump into this list and get to breaking these players down and looking at them and ranking the GOATs. Alright, so as you can see, I'm using this website that created this list. I'm also going to be using another website called StatMuse, where I'm going to be looking at all of these stats from the players that I chose. Awesome app, you should check it out. But as you can see in the bottom, here are my top 10, not in any order. This is just how they're listed. We got Steph, we got Kareem, we got Wilt, we got MJ, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Shaq, Kobe, of course, Tim Duncan, and LeBron James. So first, let's just hop into the only white dude that made the list, Larry Bird. Now, I never, ever got to see Larry Bird play. There are 5 players on this list that I watched play at some point on television. I've never seen any of these people play in live, actually, except for Steph. I've seen Steph play live. I went to a Wizards Golden State Warriors game. You guys know about that. But as you can see, my rankings, we have GOAT, Superstar, All-Star, Star, and Bucket. Bucket being the lowest. Obviously, I might have more in the GOAT category, but I'll tell you at the end of this video who my GOAT, who I think is the best player to ever play basketball. But here we go, Larry Bird. Now, Larry Bird, if we go over here and let's check out his stats with this StatMuse app, it looks like the most points he's averaged per game is close to 30. That's pretty good.
No, you are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I definitely think Larry Bird has an MVP. I think he also has a championship or 2. Obviously, I haven't seen these guys play. But Larry Bird is always a bucket. He is considered one of the most lethal shooters to ever play the game. His stats are outstanding here, as you can see. Averaging 10 plus rebounds as a small forward. I mean, that's insane in itself. And he also was a very flashy passer, which is honestly kind of surprising. It seems in the later of his career, he started passing the ball a lot more, which is pretty good. Looks like he was also a menace on the floor as well with his defense. He averaged close to 1 block a season and close to 1.5 steals. So he's a pretty good player. Sadly, I never got to see him play, but he also is a bucket on 2K. And for that reason, we are going to put Larry Bird in the All-Star category to start. He's right in the middle. I think that he deserves the All-Star rank. He's a very solid player all around, can shoot the rock, all that stuff. So yeah, I put Larry Bird in my All-Star rank. Now next we'll go to Magic Johnson. I have him on my team. He's a god on my team. But it just makes sense to compare up Larry and then go to Magic Johnson. Now Magic Johnson, let's go ahead and check his stats. Magic Johnson over here, a beast, looking like 24 points per game is his highest. But then we go over to his assist. His highest assist season was 13.1. He led the Showtime Lakers, him and Kareem, who is also on this list. Now, the reason I put Magic Johnson in the top 10, obviously, he was the first of his kind to be a player that could play every single position. He had that game where he started at center and still cooked. He was like 6'10", I believe, and 6'8", 6'10", in that range, and played point guard. So that just goes to show, you know, he was the first of his kind to do it, and then it leads on to like Ben Simmons, players like that, LeBron James being able to handle the ball at such big, huge heights. And so that's why he definitely deserves a top 10 list. And for that reason, above all else, I'm going to put Magic Johnson one above Larry Bird at the Superstar rank. The reason I'm doing that is because 6'10" as a point guard, that is almost impossible to guard. Obviously, Larry Bird can shoot. Magic had a weird, ugly jump shot, as you can probably see from my 2K videos. But still, 6'10" as a point guard, and you can average 12 assists in a season along with 20 plus points. That is an incredible stat. I believe that Magic Johnson is a little bit better than Larry Bird and belongs on the Superstar rank. Next, we're going to go with our boy Kareem Skyhook revolutionized the game. So let's go over and let's check out some of Kareem's career stats. So if you look at Kareem's career stats, obviously we go to the points. There are going to be a lot. In his second season, he averaged 31.7 points per game, all the way down to his last season where he only averaged 10. So he definitely fell off as he got older. Obviously, you can see that a lot of NBA players are going to do that. But still, averaging 30 points per game in 4 seasons, that's an incredible stat. Lowest he ever shot from the field was 51%. An amazing center. Absolutely incredible. I mean, he's arguably one of the GOATs, the best to ever play. He kind of gets disrespected, in my opinion, not getting put into the MJ, LeBron, and Kobe conversation, because the Skyhook revolutionized the game, almost unguardable. He was on the Showtime Lakers. They won their championships. They did their stuff. So because of that, I am putting Kareem in the GOAT list. He is one of the greatest to ever play. Is he going to be my GOAT? I don't know, but he definitely belongs in the GOAT category and belongs in those conversations with LeBron, Kobe, and MJ for sure. So next, we'll stay on the center side of things and we'll move on to Wilt Chamberlain. Let's go ahead and check out some of his stats. So here you go, Big Wilt, averaging 50.4 points per game in 80 games played. Now you could argue that when Wilt averaged these ridiculous stats, look, they didn't even like keep track of steals and blocks back when he played. He was pulling out all these boards. Yeah, so you could definitely argue that when he played, the competition was terrible. He was playing a bunch of white dudes, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just trash people at basketball. But just because of that, he changed the game. He was one of the first African Americans, I believe, to play and dominate the league. I'm sure he wasn't the first African American to play, but he definitely was one of the first. And just to look at all of those points and all that he dominated, I mean, he scored 100 points in a game. Absolute killer. And so because of that, we're gonna put him right up there with Magic Johnson as a superstar. Wouldn't put him in the GOAT category because it'd be hard to see what he could do against nowadays NBA. I definitely am a believer that the NBA is getting better and better and better. I believe that people like Kevin Durant could dominate in the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird era, stuff like that. I think that the talent just keeps getting better and better. Even bench players are absolutely ridiculous with their athleticism. So because of that, we're not sure how he could stack up against some of these other players in their current eras, but Wilt was still a beast. He's going to hold that 100-point record for a long, long time. We got 4 out of the 6. Now let's see here. What are we going to go with next? Let's go with someone who was probably a little bit like Wilt and was fundamentally sound. Let's go with Timmy Duncan. So let's go to Tim Duncan's stats. Now, the reason Tim Duncan is on this list, and some of you might not agree with this at all, even MJ himself said that Tim Duncan was one of the best basketball players to ever play. Fundamentally sound, 19 years pro. If you look, he averaged at most 25 points per game, but if we go over here, 12 rebounds to go with it, 2.5 blocks to go with it. Even had some assists as a big man. That's a pretty good assist number. Didn't average the most points per game, but he contributed everywhere on the floor. So because of that reason, and being so fundamentally sound and just an all-around threat, no matter where he was on the floor, I'm putting Tim Duncan at the all-star rank. We might not have anybody at the star and bucket rank. I might have to redo this list. Now, these are all my first impressions. I created the list. I didn't make it one prior. I went straight into it. So we got 5 of the throwback players except for MJ and, you know, stuff like that. And then we got some more current players that we've probably seen play. Next, we're going to switch things up and we're going to move over to Steph Curry. Now, Steph Curry belongs on this list. I know he's still playing and he still has a lot to prove, I guess you could say, but he belongs on this list. He's changed the game completely. Kids nowadays think they're Curry and they shoot from 50 feet and they think they can make it. Look at LaMelo Ball pulling up from half court. That was inspired by Curry, whether you want to believe it or not. I mean, kids literally shoot in the trash can now and say Curry instead of Kobe. Disrespectful, man. Kobe did it first. But we look at his numbers. I mean, he obviously had 2 back-to-back MVP seasons. First unanimous MVP ever in that season was right here, I believe, his 2015-16 season. Averaged 30. His assists and rebounds as a guard are still all around the same, but Steph is definitely known for his shooting, not necessarily his playmaking. He obviously can pass the rock. He's a point guard. Not the best defender. He's been pretty healthy his career, except for the terrible ankles that he's had, and this past season when he hurt his wrist, broke his wrist. He's been in and out with a few minor injuries and stuff like that, but other than his ankles and that, he's been decently healthy. So yeah, Steph Curry is definitely a GOAT in my opinion. He's one of my favorite players. We've got the Wheaties box in the background. Not sure if you can see it, but I definitely had a bandwagon phase with Steph. So yeah, he's definitely belongs on this list, and because of that, I'm gonna put him with the All-Star as well. He still has more to prove. I'm a big Steph Curry fan. He's a big Christian, you know, stuff like that. So Steph is definitely one of my boys. Hope he can do the best. Next, we're going to move on to Shaquille O'Neal. Now, Shaq, in my opinion, the best center to ever play the game. He was the most dominant force to ever walk the basketball court. I mean, pulling down 29 points and 13 boards in a season. That's insane. Shaq in Wilt's era, could he put up 100? For sure. Him and Kobe were probably arguably the best dynamic duo to ever play the game. Others I'd put in that category like D-Wade and LeBron, Scottie Pippen and MJ, Magic and Kareem. But I think Shaq and Kobe could take on Magic and Kareem for sure. So Shaq was, in my opinion, the best center to ever play. His stats make up for it with all these boards that he's pulling down. They call him the Rainbow Man because he's pretty consistent right here. Orlando, LA, the Miami, and then he goes all over the place. Shaq was definitely a great player. He's an hilarious guy. We love Shaq. Because of that, I'm putting Shaq in the superstar rank. I don't know. I think he could take on Kareem, but Kareem just has so many more points. Shaq is the most dominant center to ever play, in my opinion, but is he a GOAT? I'm not sure about that. I'm sure he could take on any center, but he just doesn't have the leadership and the capability to lead a team like, you know, MJ and Kobe and LeBron could. Obviously, he had his stint with the Magic. Still, I think that you need to pair up Shaq with another superstar in order for them to do something great, like win a championship. He might take people to the finals, but I don't think he could win a championship on his own. So next, we'll move on to Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace, as always. Missed that guy for sure, but let's go check him out. Obviously, you guys know what Kobe's about. Kobe's an absolute bucket. Great guy. Greater off the court than he was on the court. Took a while to get started in the NBA, as you can see, his first 3 seasons, but obviously he was proven that he was going to be a force to reckon with even in those young seasons. His rookie season only averaging 7 points and 1 rebound, 1 assist. So obviously, you know, he didn't have as dominant as a rookie season as LeBron, but still, he came around and he proved himself. He has 1 MVP, I believe. I only think he has 1. Obviously, he has his rings, his 5 rings, and the reason that I have Kobe on this list is obviously he's in the top 3 GOAT discussion, but he changed the game with his Mamba mentality, man. He really enforced work ethic and working hard in order to get good. Yeah, Kobe really embodied the work ethic and mirroring the greats before him in order to shape his game. He was always learning, always watching film, always trying to get better, and if you see other people that worked out with him before he sadly passed away, you look at players like Giannis who would work out with him, Jason Tatum who would work out with him, and just how good they are. He has the best IQ in basketball ever. You can just check out these stats. I don't really need to go through them. Averaging 35 points a game. He's always been known for his scoring, so obviously his rebounding and assists are going to be low. I definitely believe Kobe is one of the best to ever play, so obviously Kobe is going to go in our GOAT ranking. Quick discretion, these next 2 are MJ and LeBron. Obviously, these last 3 are all going to go in the GOAT ranking, but we're still going to break them down. And so, the top 2 that I have on my list, who is the #1 GOAT? We're going to go with LeBron James. LeBron James is my GOAT. He is the best player to ever play, in my opinion. Obviously, if MJ and LeBron played 1-on-1, I think MJ would win. But in my opinion, that doesn't describe a GOAT if you can beat someone 1-on-1. Who can build a team? Who can lead a team better? You can argue MJ's got more rings, but MJ had a better staff around him. Compare Rodman to Kevin Love. Rodman wins easily. He didn't score. He's still pulling down boards. He's still playing great defense. You put Kyrie against Scottie Pippen. Obviously, not the same position, but still, Scottie beats Kyrie Irving. Kyrie still has so many ways to prove himself. But in my opinion, LeBron is the best player to ever play the game of basketball. We look at his stats. He's a god. 31 points per game here, 30 points per game, 29 points per game, always up there. He is in the top 4 voting for MVPs almost every single season. He is definitely the greatest, in my opinion, to ever play. So let's go ahead and put LeBron James in the GOAT tier right next to Kobe, and then move right on to Michael Jordan, MJ the boy. He's second place in my voting. Obviously, MJ, if you're watching the ESPN series, it's amazing. We look at his stats, man. 35 points per game, 32 points per game, 30 points per game. Even when he left, came back, still dominated the league. I mean, it's just amazing to see what MJ was capable of doing. You can see right here, this is when he took that gap and he left. Three-peat twice, beat the bad boy Detroit Pistons. MJ is a GOAT as well, and he is in the GOAT list. But now, I'm going to break down the list in a top 10 ranking, and I'll get back to you guys to tell you what that list is. Alright guys, so if I were to rank this 1 through 10, this is how it would look for me personally. At number 10, we'd have Tim Duncan. 9, we'd have Larry Bird. 8, we'd have Wilt Chamberlain. 7, we'd have Steph Curry. 6, we'd have Shaq. 5, Magic Johnson. 4, Kareem. 3, Kobe. 2, MJ. And 1, LeBron James. LeBron is definitely my GOAT. I think he's the best to ever play. So yeah guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my GOAT tier list ranking. If you disagree or you have your own list, feel free to DM me your own list. My Instagram is going to be right here. Make sure you follow that. I do some updates on there where I'll post on my story when I'm going to drop a video, what might drop, etc. So make sure you're following that. Also my Twitter right here. Follow that. I also put all links to my videos like that, so if you're not hitting that notification bell, you can see the notifications on Twitter as well. But that being said, if you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're on the road to 1 million, 100 million, you know the vibes. We're just trying to get up there, so if you're liking what you're seeing, make sure you subscribe. I'm just trying to drop as much content as possible with everybody being bored. I know this was a different video, but you know, I'm just trying to do what I can. I do want to give a quick shout out to my boy Playtendo Gaming. He didn't ask me to give him a shout out. He doesn't even know I'm dropping this video. Not sure he's going to make it this far in the video as well, but his link will be in the description. He's a YouTuber, and he did a Pokemon game tier list where he did the same kind of stuff. So I saw that video and I was like, well, that's a good idea. I kind of want to do that. So that's where this video idea came from. So shout out to him. He's a great guy. Go subscribe to him if you haven't already as well. But with all that being said, guys, I'm out of here, and I love you as always. Peace.